my friends, I guess it's been a tough year for us all, really. And some may be going through even more restrictions during the Christmas period. So we could sort of feel a bit downhearted, I guess, with all of that. But I want to suggest it is a time to rejoice. It's a time to look to the Lord, look up from our troubles and trials and difficulties, look to Jesus, look to him as our Saviour. Remember the words that the angel said to the shepherds in the field there at Bethlehem. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Listen, I bring you news of great joy, a joy for all the world, and to be shared by all people. Because in the town of David, a Saviour has been born to us. He is Christ the Lord. That's what we're rejoicing about, that a new time has come, a time that has ushered in a new saving power in the world, Jesus himself. It's a time to be grateful for the salvation that's been given to us in Jesus Christ. You know, he didn't leave us like in our distress or in our human predicament. You know, he came to be one with us. He took on our human flesh. You know, he actually is madly in love with us to such an extent that God chose to share our very humanity so that we would share his divinity. See, he's dignified us in this way. So our human flesh is now being made capable of entering into the divine, because Jesus is God made flesh, the incarnate Son of God. So let's rejoice that Jesus is in our midst. Let's rejoice that God didn't remain in his glorious splendor up there beyond us, indifferent. No, out of his mad love for us, he came to be one of us. And with us in all of our circumstances, all of our trials, all of our troubles, all of our struggles, he's with us. That's what makes the difference. Of course, the great symbol of this is the way he was born, in that stable in Bethlehem, not in some sanitized hospital, but in a place that was, you know, where animals lived, you know. And I guess there was animal dung on the floor. Can't be sure. But they would have had to clean it up probably, just to make it as a fitting dwelling place. Because, you see, he came to be in our mess, really, not to be above us, but to be with us and share our predicament. So he was put into a feeding trough for animals. That's what that was, a manger, a feeding trough for animals. So he was really wanting to express something from the very moment of his entry into our human condition. He didn't come into a palace for kings. He didn't sort of come into with an army or anything like that. He came as a humble, defenseless, vulnerable child, born in a stable, in an undignified way, but in that way he gave us dignity. He gave all of himself for our sake. So, my friends, this is a great thing to rejoice in what God has done for us. And to image this, I heard a story of a young boy who was growing up in a community. He himself had never spoken. He had a strong disability, and also he was incontinent. And so it was hard for his helpers who were in this community to sort of really support him. And one day he just had, unfortunately, he'd wet his pants badly, and at this stage he was about 12 years old. And his helper was just berating him and saying, "What are you doing?" But another man came along and he said, "Just let me help." And so he sat down with this young boy in his mess and put his arm around him and said, "It's okay." At that point, for the first time, the young boy spoke. You see, he was liberated by one who came to him in his mess and sat with him in his mess. And from that place, he found a new power and a new grace. So my friends, that's what God has done for us. No matter how messy you think your life has been, he is with you. He's come into that. He wants to share your condition so he can lift you and give you new hope and new power and new freedom. This is why he's come. So let's open our hearts to Christ. Let's open our hearts to God who has come to us in this way. Let's welcome him into, as it were, the stable in our hearts, which might be quite messy. We may feel it's unfitting for God to dwell there, but he chooses to dwell there. He chooses to dwell in you and to give you new hope, new freedom, new joy, new peace. So whatever you're suffering with, whatever your struggle is, whatever your trial or difficulty, open the heart to the Lord at this Christmas time and find new joy, new hope, new freedom, new peace. Have a very happy Christmas.